At the time of recording this voiceover, it is far too hot outside. I wasn't in the mood to film myself, so you get this style of hello again. You can be happy that you get a voiceover at all, because I have to turn off my fan, and that means it's far too warm. So, I hope it will still work. Enjoy, or something like that. Some time ago, I bought quite a lot of rhinestones. Originally to try to make the necklace that brought Marie Antoinette down. Yeah, I wasn't in the mood for it. So I thought, let's make a challenge. Try to make a dress completely out of rhinestones and overall a doll, where the question is how many rhinestones can I fit on it without being too much. Is there something like too many rhinestones? I don't know. So I designed a base dress and took out some white fabric and some black chiffon, or yeah, it's a chiffon, to cover the white with, just to have a base for the dress so that the bodice part isn't completely translucent. That is what we will do today. Yay! I originally thought I just sew the base bodice off camera and start with the rhinestone dress off camera and do some stuff on camera, but it was so difficult in the end that I made everything off camera. I hope you can apologize, but yeah, that is the finished dress. Now we have to decide what kind of doll. I wanted to use a grey one, and yeah, I landed on either Rochelle or the grey Frankie. I went with the Rochelle in the end. I wanted this doll to be a little bit more monochromatic because, yeah, I thought the rhinestones are enough. If I then use a lot of color, it could be far too much. So, to have it a little bit more warm, because the silver already is quite cool, I decided to go with a little bit warmer Rochelle doll. That meant obviously removing the hair, the horns, and everything in between, because I already had decided on using yarn for her, because she needs a hairstyle that is completely up, because anything that would be hanging loose will tangle up in the rhinestones, and that is not a cute look. So we needed to have a hairstyle that is completely up, and for that I do kind of like yarn hair very well. I do like yarn hair in every circumstance, but for an updo, it's the easiest way. With the cleaning portion out of the way, obviously this girl needs some shoes later. And I thought I have some rhinestones that are originally intended for nail art that are clear as well. So why not glue them onto the shoes? And with that I thought, why even use shoes? Why not take out the resin clay? It's too warm to think. Resin clay and epoxy clay. That was the word I was searching for. and sculpting some platform heel boots onto her. I thought about repairing the one missing tiny finger, small finger, you know which one I mean. I tried it, that didn't work, so I just made the shoes. First I sanded her feet a little bit so that the clay will attach better. Yeah, and then I sculpted it onto her. With the rest of the clay, I closed the holes in her head, and after that was dried, I could spray her with 2 layers of MSC and we can start the repaint portion. For the repaint, I first thought to only use a light grey and a dark grey as the shading. And yeah, the only real color I wanted to add was a pale or nude-ish pink for the lips and blue eyes. But when I was halfway done with the first round, I thought she looks a little bit too pale, so let's deviate a teeny tiny bit from the whole monochromatic look and give her a bit of flesh color shading as well, which I think turned out quite nice. I already gave her a little bit of blush, which made it a little bit better, but yeah, she still was a bit too plain for me. I started the whole process by shading the eye sockets and the sides of the head, which is, what I shade most of the time. There was a time when I shaded quite a lot with soft pastels, but I went back to a more simpler style again, and I do like it a little bit more than with too much shading in it. The rest was obviously done with watercolor pencils, and I have to say I do see some improvement in my repaints lately. I do think I am learning. What a surprise. When you do something over and over again, you improve. Who would have thought? Yeah. With my last repaint, my opera singer, I already thought the face-up looks quite nice. And for her, I have the same feeling. I first was not too sure with the Rochelle face mold, but in the end, with the done repaint, I was quite happy with her, and I still am. So, what a great thing. I improve. I'm so proud of myself. And now, without any irony, yes, I am proud. So, isn't that nice that I can say that? Once in a lifetime opportunity. There was the irony again. I'm so sorry. For most of my repaints lately, I only used 2 layers of MSC in between. This time I gave it a 3rd layer because I thought she needed a little bit more detail. The blue was not as vibrant after the 2nd pass, and the black could need a little bit more improvement. So I went with the 3rd round, and I think that was quite a good decision because, I am fairly okay with her face-up. Yay! Did anyone already miss the randomly inserted yay? There it was. It's too warm. I'm so sorry. But anyway, with 2 other sprays of MSC done, it was time for the lashes. And as smooth sailing as it was with the last doll, this time it was a struggle again. Mostly because I decided this girl will get a ton of lashes. So basically I glued 3 parts on, and then in the second row I filled the in-between. Because I wasn't willing to wait until the first row was dry, I tried to do this all in one go. That was a teeny tiny bit ambitious, but it worked in the end. Another problem was that I tried to remove her hair with the pliers that I use now, and they were bent a little bit open, so they weren't able to hold the lashes too well. I hope I remember after recording this voiceover to repair them. Ta-da! And this time, after I glued the lashes, I took out the white acrylic paint and gave her some highlights so that the lashes and the highlights can dry together. Convenient. I start to get the hang of how to do things so that it will be a little bit quicker. I'm so great. I get the feeling I shouldn't record voiceovers when it's over 30 degrees Celsius. Who cares? After that was dry, we could glaze her eyes and lips. I did this twice, but I only recorded it once. And because I already was able to see again, it was time for another round of rhinestones. I took out the remaining ones that I had not glued onto the hands and legs so far. Yes, I did glue most of the shoe and glove things off camera again. Yeah. It was time for rhinestones again. First I cut the lashes to a reasonable size, and then I took out a glue stick and some mirror powder for nail art. Gosh, talking is so difficult today. Yeah. Because of the glue stick, it was quite easy to attach it, so with that I was able to attach the mirror shine polish thing, and then I glued some rhinestones onto her face as well to tie everything together. And with her face sparkled up a little bit, I then decided to show you a teeny tiny bit of one of the shoes. So I took her body and glued on some rhinestones there on the second shoe as well. And yes, that was a lot of work because I tried to place them individually. In the end, for the last shoe, I was so done with it that I just slapped them on. I just poured them over the glue. That was a mistake, but because the dress will cover it, you won't see it in the end. Off camera, I then prepared the yarn for her hairstyle. I do have a feeling this yarn was not made out of acrylic, because whatever it was, it refused to get straightened. So she has a rather rough set of hair, but it worked out. and I think it even worked to my advantage in the end. So, who am I to complain? At this moment, I didn't know what kind of hairstyle I wanted for her. The only thing I knew was that I want to put most of it, if not everything, up. So I just glued it around her head so that I can pull everything back on top of her head again later. Yeah. When this was dry, we ended up with quite the interesting hairstyle. But then I combed everything back to the center of her head, and I still didn't know what to do with her, but I decided there need to be a little bit out of whatever I will do, so that the contour of her head will be a little bit softer. So I left out a little bit of hair, and then I just pulled the rest of it into a ponytail, and then I decided, why not give her a bun? Normally I don't do a lot of buns, but let's give her a bun. So I stuffed out the ponytail part with a little bit of leftover hair, and then laid it in parts back onto the head and glued it in place so that it will stay like this forever, until eternity. And what can I say? It looked surprisingly good. From the front she looked a little bit like a granny with a bun, but we don't talk about that. Overall, she turned out quite nice. But I remembered I wanted to put rhinestones everywhere, so I took some of my last remaining rhinestones and beaded them up in a kind of necklace thing that I could put around the bun and glue to her head in any way. Again, at this point, I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I did it anyway, and it turned out quite nice, so yay! And with everything glued to her and put onto her, I decided to dress the body off camera because I had a feeling that it would be difficult, and it was. I'm sorry. I had to reattach quite a lot of rhinestones, and it was a wise decision to do this off camera. With that, she was done, and she looked quite stunning, so I took out my turntable, and tried to film her. I switched the light off and tried to use the flash of my mobile phone, because you didn't see all the sparkles that were there. Then I filmed her with my mobile phone, which couldn't handle the amount of sparkle, but I definitely needed to show you the amount of it. So, I hope you enjoyed this strange little journey, and we will see us next time. Bye.